Hello, reviews day on GotAUkulele.com, a brand I've not featured before. That brand is Diamond Head, and this is their DU-150 Soprano. I've actually known about Diamond Head for quite some time. They're a brand I see around on discount shops, Amazon, places like that. But I thought that they were solely in America. And recently I saw that these were available in the UK, so I grabbed one and did my duty to bring it to you as a review. So I think that means they're an American brand, but they're made in China naturally, because this is a pretty cheap Soprano. So this one comes in a pretty uninspiring brown colour, double bout Soprano, also available in lots of bright colours as well, you know, the sort of score. And because of its construction, laminate, and painted, it's going to draw comparisons in this review to that awful Ashton that I reviewed last week. Maybe that's a bit unfair on it, but we'll see. Similar sort of price. Anyway, double bout Soprano. They claim it's all made of maple. It might be maple, but it's plywood. It's plywood laminate, no bracing, pretty boxy. It's finished in this sort of, it's kind of satin. It's a much nicer finish than the Ashton, to be honest. There's no flaws in it, no bubbles, no scuffs. Doesn't feel like it's going to rub off in my hand. It's all right. It's kind of like the ones on the Octopus. Not bad, I guess. You know, it's still a cheap Soprano, but I've seen worse. We've got a bridge, tie bar bridge style screwed in place. That's also painted black. I mean, why just use a dark wood, you know? It makes you wonder what the wood is. And a plastic uncompensated saddle. The only decoration there is the Soundhole Rosette transfer. It's central, it's alright. And I can't tell how many pieces of wood it's made of because the paint's too thick, but I suspect they're single pieces. You know, I'm not totally down on it. I knew it's a cheap ukulele. I'm not expecting to see sort of high gloss finishes here or flame or textures. It's painted. I've seen worse, like I say. Up to the neck, not sure how many pieces that's in, but it's a pretty generic profile and 34mm nut width. And that's topped with something that Ashton call Urbanized Hardwood. That's marvellous. What a great description. It might be hardwood. Urbanized means painted black. Urbanized. I mean, come on. Urbanized hardwood. I've heard everything now. And that is fitted with a standard 12 nickel silver frets. They're a bit cruddy down at the top end, but actually they're dressed really well. No sharp edges because the edges appear to be bound black. No complaints there. We've got plastic inlaid dots at the 5th, 7th and 10th on the position markers, and we've also got them on the side, full marks to that. Plastic nut up to a generic 3-pointed crown headstock, and that Diamond Head logo I think looks tacky. It looks like an old sort of cartoon or comic book style. It's and look at those massive ears. We've got generic open geared tuners with buttons which are far too big for a Soprano. Why not put friction pegs on it? You know what, they turn okay though. They're not grindy like the ones on the Ashton. And that comes with a set of horrible no name clear slippy floppy flabby nylon strings, and would you believe it, a gig bag that's even worse than the one with the Ashton. I mean, this is like tent or anorak material. I mean, it's so thin I can roll the case up. It's just bizarre. I mean, what's the point of that? And that's going to set you back about £33-35, so actually a bit more expensive than the Ashton. And it's the price that's kind of confused me with this one, because it's setting it up against instruments like the Macala Dolphin, which is very, very well known and very well regarded for cheap ukulele. And you can also get ukuleles cheaper than this, which are pretty good, like the Octopus Soprano, which is about 10 quid cheaper, that has better strings on it. So I'm kind of in two minds. I don't totally hate it, but for the purposes of this review, I'm finding it really hard to get past these strings. The setup, it needs a setup. It's too high at the bridge and saddle. The action is way too high. But that aside, there's just no life coming from those strings. Where I am sensing life, though, this is for a laminate body, and it's pretty thick laminate. That's a pretty resonant body, to be fair. much more than the dead Ashton. So I've got no doubt that with the right set of strings on this, you could possibly get it to be a half decent beginner ukulele. The question is, why would you do that when you could just simply buy an octopus, spend less money, and already have decent strings and a better neck? These are just flabby and lifeless, you know, and you get tangled in them. No, they're horrible. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, I always review instruments with the stock strings. Yes, you could change them, and the judgment I make is the instrument worth changing them? I think this might be. I think this, with a set of Aquilas on it, possibly. The reason why I said I wouldn't bother doing that with the Ashton is the Ashton was flawed in other ways. The bridge was in the wrong place and it felt awful. This is kind of a close but no cigar. It's not bad in the body. I don't like the painted neck. The construction's pretty good. It's resonant. Those strings are horrible. The tuner's not great, but they're not terrible either. I just think the price is a bit wrong. When you can get something like an octopus soprano for 10 quid less and better strings. The Diamond Head DU-150 soprano doesn't totally suck. Not the best, but not the worst instrument I've ever seen. But I wouldn't be buying one. Back soon next week. Got something quite interesting for you. Stay tuned.